Minnesota Vikings just got some great news from the Wednesday injury report, as it's looking like Justin Jefferson will be all set to go this Sunday versus the Houston Texans. So coming up on today's show, Vikings injury report, Texans injury report. Then on the second half, top matchups that I am excited to watch this Sunday, as we got the 2-2-0 teams squaring off at US Bank Stadium this weekend. But before we dive into that, I want to give you guys an updated look at our sub battle for week 3. We got an early lead right now, but our Texans Today show is actually putting out a video later on today declaring another sub battle. So if you guys want to help me beat Texans Today in subs game this week, it's free. It's an easy way. Just go down there and hit that sub button. Let's start off with the Vikings injury report here. Jordan Addison, Brian O'Neill, and Dallas Turner did not practice yesterday. We know Jordan Addison is still dealing with that ankle injury, as he's probably 50-50 right now to play this Sunday. But Brian O'Neill is dealing with an elbow, and then Dallas Turner did aggravate that knee in Sunday's matchup versus the 49ers, but Kevin O'Connell also said he should be good to go this weekend. But the one guy I would be very concerned about not playing this weekend would be Brian O'Neill. Now, I think what has made the Vikings great so far during the first 2 weeks of the season is you got Christian Darrisaw on the left side, you got Brian O'Neill on the right side. They're both rated top 10 according to PFF in terms of tackles so far this season. And with the Houston Texans pass rush of obviously Danielle Hunter, Will Anderson Jr. coming to town, I am praying that Brian O'Neill will be fully healthy and ready to go, because he's most likely going to be squaring off with Danielle Hunter on every single rep this upcoming Sunday. So I'm not worried just yet, but if Brian O'Neill were to have to miss time this weekend, it would definitely be a little concerning to me. But in terms of the guys that were limited at practice on Wednesday, no concerns really at all for any of these guys. Maybe Aaron Jones just a little bit, but Jefferson dealing with that Charlie Horse quad injury. Same thing with Ivan Pace Jr., just dealing with that quad. Van Ginkel's been on the injury report the last 2 weeks with that foot, but he will be good to go. Garrett Bradbury, a little bit of a shocker dealing with a knee, but Kevin O'Connell, again, said no worries there. This was just kind of giving these guys a rest day, sort of, as yesterday was just a walkthrough practice. But also Aaron Jones dealing with that hip. I'm assuming he'll be out there. But guys that were shockingly not on the injury report yesterday and did participate in full were Ed Ingram and Jalen Nailor. Ed Ingram dealing with the triceps, so he should be good to go. And then very positive news. Jalen Nailor, he did get rolled up on this past weekend, but the fact that he will be fully ready to go this Sunday, just some insurance if Jordan Addison isn't able to play, that's huge for the Vikes. But on the Texan side of things, a lot of injuries, and we can start off with former Vikings special teams legend Chris Boyd. Honestly, I had no idea Chris Boyd was on the Texans before a couple weeks ago, so I guess this is a quad revenge game now for the Texan side of things. But he's dealing with a hip. Nico Collins didn't practice with a hip/foot, but he'll be out there. Fatu Kazi is dealing with a shoulder, but he should be good to go. Joe Mixon is anticipated to miss this week and potentially more weeks in the future. So I'm assuming it will either be Dameon Pierce or Cam Akers, but then also Jaret Patterson dealing with a calf injury. But speaking about Dameon Pierce, backup running back for the Texans, he's dealing with a hamstring injury. So if I had to call it right now, and I was talking to our Texans host here, I'm assuming it's going to be a lot of Cam Akers this Sunday. Expect 20-plus carries from him, especially if, Pierce misses and Joe Mixon misses. They really don't have any other running backs to go to. But their starting center, Drew Scruggs, missed last week against the Bears. He will probably miss this week, so that's good news for the Vikings, as he is still dealing with that groin. Now, I do want to mention Azeez Al-Shaair here real quick. I thought he had a chance to get suspended for this game, or at least fined heading into the matchup, but nothing so far from the NFL after he poked the Bears player in the eyes this past weekend. But, he is dealing with that shin injury. He was limited, but he'll be ready to go. And then also Dalton Schultz, ankle injury for the tight end. He'll be out there. And then MJ Stewart as well, dealing with that knee injury. But overall, I think it's good news for the Vikings that Justin Jefferson will be fully ready to go. And Jordan Addison, 50-50 right now, but I just have a feeling number 3 will be out there this Sunday versus the Texans. But if you guys want the Vikings to get a victory this Sunday versus Houston, hit that thumbs up icon. Don't jinx us, as maybe you guys will be sitting there in that third quarter and was like, man, I should have liked that kid's YouTube video this week. So hit that thumbs up icon if you guys want the Vikings to move to 3-0. Coming up next, I think there's a ton of fun matchups to watch this weekend. So I got my top 5 matchups heading into this game versus the Houston Texans. But before we dive into that, I want to give a massive, massive shout out to today's presenting sponsor, and that is Prize Picks. If you guys download the Prize Picks app and use promo code CLNS, you guys will get $50 instantly when you play just $5. That's code CLNS on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. And you don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Now, they do have a sweet deal going on right now where one Caleb Williams passing yard gets you one win on Prize Picks every week for the rest of September. That's right. Only 1 yard gets you an automatic win every football weekend in September. That is 2 more weeks of free W's. So don't miss out on this deal on Prize Picks because it's gone once September ends. So if you guys want to play Prize Picks alongside celebrities like Drewski, Joe Budden, MMA champ Sugar Sean O'Malley, you can now find community plays under the promos tab on the app to view entries from some of the biggest names in the Prize Picks community each week. So download the Prize Picks app today, use code CLNS, and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code CLNS on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. Again, you don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks. Run your game. All right, top matchups to watch in the Battle of the Undefeateds at US Bank Stadium this weekend. I think these are 2 elite coaching staffs, 2 great rosters, and it's going to be a fun matchup. But the top matchups I'm looking forward to, it's got to be the head coaches. Kevin O'Connell versus D'Amico Ryans. These 2 are going to be squaring off this weekend as D'Amico is the defensive play caller for the Houston Texans. And then, as we know, Kevin O'Connell calls the plays here offensively for the Vikes. But in my opinion, I think this is the matchup between the best defensive play caller and the best young offensive play caller in the National Football League. Kevin O'Connell versus D'Amico Ryans. D'Amico has done a tremendous job for that Texans defense. They fly around on the football field. They hit hard. They don't allow any yak yards at all. And I think I love when a football team plays like how their head coach coaches the football team. D'Amico, physical guy, he's got that intensity to him. And that's how the Texans defense plays. And the same thing with the Vikings. Kevin O'Connell, he's all about process. He's all about, seeing around corners and just being ahead of the curve. And that's how the Vikings offense plays. Like, they're adding new motions. They're adding new just wrinkles to the offense. I mean, last week we saw the Vikings in pistol. Who would have thought that the Kevin O'Connell would have added a pistol set to this offense? But just seeing those guys go head to head, what wrinkles they're adding to their game plans this week, it is going to be truly, truly special to watch. But number 2 for me, it's the best wide receiver in the National Football League versus a top 5 cornerback in the National Football League. Justin Jefferson versus Derrick Stingley Jr. And the one thing I am very, very curious heading into this matchup, and maybe Jordan Addison playing will impact this in a little bit, but I'm just curious how often the Texans are going to leave Derrick Stingley one-on-one with Justin Jefferson, because obviously they have confidence, they have faith that he can go one-on-one with every single receiver in the National Football League. But how much respect are they going to show number 18 this weekend? Will they roll the coverage over his way every single play? Will they have that safety over the top? Or will they just say, hey, when we're bringing pressure, Stingley, you're one-on-one with number 18, and we'll kind of roll the die there. But, if the Texans do leave, Stingley one-on-one with Jefferson, I want Sam Darnold to be aggressive. Give Jefferson those 50-50 balls, and even if Stingley is in his hip pocket, just throw it his way, have him go make a play on the football, and I think it'll end up working out with the Vikes. But, determining how often they would double-team Jefferson or roll the coverage his way, that'll be very interesting to see how that plays out on Sunday. But, the Texans, they got a phenomenal pass rush coming to town this weekend. And, the Vikings' offensive line has been very good so far this season. But you still have question marks with guys like Ed Ingram and Garrett Bradbury. Blake Brandel has been fantastic, one of the highest-rated guards according to PFF so far this season, and we know how good our tackles are. But Bradbury and Ingram, if they're able to hold up on the interior, I actually like the Vikings matchups going against the Texans D-line because they got 2 great edge rushers. Obviously, we know Danielle Hunter making his return to US Bank Stadium this weekend, him going up against Brian O'Neill. Obviously, that is a clash of titans there, but I would have a lot of faith in O'Neill. He saw him every day in practice. Now, you could obviously just say the same thing about Hunter. He knows all of O'Neill's tendencies, but, O'Neill also knows all of Hunter's tendencies. But I'm just excited to watch them, duke it out this Sunday. And also Will Anderson going up against Christian Darrisaw. Darrisaw has been fantastic. He played great against Nick Bosa this past week. But Will Anderson, he's got a super, super high motor. I love the way he plays football, man. Honestly, just the Texans defense as a whole. If it's not the Vikings defense, I probably like watching Houston the most in the league. They get after it. They pressure the quarterback at a very, very high level. But watching those 2 edge rushers go against the Vikings' 2 tackles, it'll be very, very fun to watch. this weekend. Now, number 4 for me, I wanted to put Brian Flores versus Bobby Slowick, but I think it's going to be more about Flores versus C.J. Stroud. Now, I think Stroud is the 3rd best quarterback in the league, in my opinion, right now. I would rank it Mahomes, Allen, then C.J. Stroud gets the 3rd spot for me. But, what makes Brian Flores so great is I feel like when these quarterbacks nowadays, compared to how we were, let's just say 10, 15 years ago when it was like the Mannings, the Rivers, the Brady, these quarterbacks nowadays, I don't think are as good as processors as we have, in years past. I think we look more for the backyard football type of quarterbacks, the off scripts, and I think that's where Brian Flores has the advantage on these young quarterbacks because you don't know what coverage the Vikings are running until after you snap the football. It doesn't matter if you motion a guy to determine if it's man or zone. The Vikings will just play their MO of 7 guys lined up on the line of scrimmage. Then they kind of got this umbrella coverage on the back end. And then once you snap the ball, the Vikings drop back into it, and you got to process very, very quickly. So will Flores be able to trick C.J. Stroud this weekend and hopefully force a couple of turnovers here as the Vikings are still 19-0 under KOC when they win or tie the turnover battle. So that's going to be fun to watch. And then, the guy C.J. Stroud's throwing the ball to. I have been pounding the table over this past week about taking away Nico Collins. He is a top 5 receiver in the league. I still don't think, the common NFL fans have really, gotten a grip of how good Nico is. And the Vikings cornerback room, it's going to be a tough task. I think Stephon Gilmore, Byron Murphy, they've been fantastic. But they haven't gone against a receiving core like Nico, like Diggs, like Tank Dell. Also a guy like Shaq Griffin. He's going to have to bring his A game this weekend. But taking away Nico Collins, I think, has to be priority number 1. And it's crazy to say, but I would let Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell beat you. You just take away this madman, number 12, 6'4", physical receiver. I am going to have a tough time sleeping this week, knowing Nico Collins is coming to the bank this weekend. But I'm assuming they're going to put Gilmore on him. Maybe follows him around the field this weekend. But again, let Stephon Diggs beat you. Take my chances with that comparison to this man out of Michigan. But if you guys made it to the end of today's show, give me a skull down below in the comment section. So fired up for this matchup this weekend. If we get any more injury news around Jefferson or any of the players on this roster, we'll also have a video for you guys. So make sure you're subscribed. Also give me a follow on Twitter. That's the handle right there at Pat Sieps. See you guys next time. As always, Skol Vikes.